Hello, my name is Kimberley Cartwright, and I'm a quilt teacher living in Durham, North Carolina. And I have 3 workshops that are virtual, one of which includes fabric postcards. In this workshop, we're going to make patterns. We are going to talk about color. We'll talk about texture. I've got some patterns that I'll include. We're going to make patterns. It's going to be a really great workshop. So this is an abstract card that we'll make. We'll also make this luscious flower. Here we are. And then for you shoe enthusiasts, I have this shoe pattern as well. It's going to be a great workshop. I'm going to show you my method of making fabric postcards. I hope you will join me. I need you to bring all of your amazing creativity, and most of all, I need you to bring your fun. The next class that I'm offering is the painted fabric bouquet. Look at those rich, beautiful colors. And you might say to me, Kimberly, I do not know how to paint. You don't need to know how to paint to take this workshop. I'm going to show you how. We'll use like an abstract method. And in the end, you'll have a beautiful quilt just like this. We're going to take time to bind it. We're going to take time to do some stitching around it. We'll get it ready for hanging. And it'll be a work of art that you can say that you created yourself. It's a 3-hour class. That'll give us time for our paint to dry and also to get in some stitching. I would love for you to come and be with me to take this class. We'll have a great time. I want you to bring all of that wonderful creativity that you have. And most of all, I want you to bring your fun. It's going to be a great, great class. The next workshop that I want to introduce to you is called the sugar quilt. And why do you think I call it a sugar quilt? Well, sugar. It takes a lot of these scraps, just like the ones that you have in your scrap basket that are left over from other projects maybe that you've done. And combining fabrics just like this, we can come up with a quilt similar to this one. I love this sugar quilt. It's one of my very favorites, and it doesn't take a whole lot of measuring. It takes some time though. This is a 6-hour class over 2 days. And when we're done, you'll have something similar to this, and you'll be well on your way to completing your sugar quilt. I cannot wait to meet you. I cannot wait to see your stash. And we'll come up with something that is absolutely amazing. Bring your fun. Bring your fun. Bring your fun.
Hi, I'm Jan Doyle. The name of my company is Wise Works. I'd like to tell you about 2 presentations and 2 workshops that I offer guilds and individuals for that matter. The first one is Quilts and the Underground Railroad, Fact or Fiction. There's a huge controversy in the quilt world whether quilts actually help slaves escape. And it started because of this particular book, Hidden in Plain View. 2 historians went down to North Carolina to research sweetgrass baskets, and they came upon a woman who was talking about the legend in her family. So our challenge is we're going to look at what the facts are, what legend says, and we're going to make our own decision. I'm going to be talking about different quilt patterns. It always drove me crazy that a quilt pattern was known by different names, but we're even going to discuss that. We're going to discuss some popular legends and how they were proven false, but all this information is going to culminate in what we think about quilts and the Underground Railroad, fact or fiction. The other presentation I have for you is called The Art of Thread Painting. I love thread painting, and it started with using my photographs on fabric, and it just developed from there. And in the 1-hour presentation, I'm going to be showing you from start to finish how you too can do this type of quilting and how much fun it is and how addicting it is and how you can merge your own photographs. But also, if you don't want to go into that area, there are some wonderful panels out there. On my website, I have some free downloads that you may use for thread painting, and you don't have to take one of the workshops, but they're for you to enjoy, use, and possibly improve your skills. I offer a 3-hour workshop, and in that 3-hour workshop, which is kind of fast and easy, we go along, we talk about needles and threads, we talk about what works and what doesn't work, we talk about some free motion quilting, and you'll be able to enjoy the procedure. And this is something I picked up at a consignment shop. It's a placemat that I turned into free motion thread painting. I also have a 6-hour class that gives us time. We don't have to rush. We can enjoy, we can practice, we can sew, we can share, we can make mistakes and correct them, we can get feedback. And so I hope you consider my presentations and workshops. They're on my website. Whoops, that's upside down. On my website, there are some kits that you may use, or use what you already have. It's okay either way. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tina Curran. I'm a quilter from Studio City, California. You may have seen my work either in quilt magazines, at national quilt shows, or perhaps on Etsy.com, where I sell my patterns to quilters all over the world. Here are my most recent offerings for lectures and workshops. Let's start with my lectures. I currently offer 4 to choose from. All can be delivered either in person or over Zoom. The first is a traditional trunk show, where I show and share the stories behind 3 dozen or so quilts. I can either bring the quilts in person or share photos of them over Zoom. My second trunk show is photos only, as these are quilts that are no longer in my possession. They've either been sold, gifted, or donated, and I share the stories behind them. My third lecture is about my design process. The goal here is to demystify my process and break it down with the hope to inspire other quilters to start designing their own quilts. And my last lecture traces my career path, from my start in the advertising biz through my transition to the quilting industry. In it, I highlight the joys and challenges along the way. As for workshops, I've successfully adapted to teaching online. I use a second camera positioned over my sewing machine and work area so everyone gets that front row view. I'm also teaching again in person. I offer more than 2 dozen workshops. They're all project-based, so I can help students make their own versions of my designs. And though they were created as 6-hour workshops, they could be split into 2 3-hour sessions if done over Zoom. Let me highlight a few of them, starting with the one depicted here in the photo. Those ladies were at my Herring Bonanza workshop. These quilts are made with regular piecing, and I promise no Y seams. You could either make a quilt, or in the same workshop, some students may opt to make a quilted pillow instead. California Poppies is another popular workshop of mine. This quilt uses both paper piecing and regular piecing, and could be made narrower or wider because of its design with 4 vertical panels. Of course, it could also be made in different colors. Dancing ice cream cones is one of my most recent designs. You make it using both paper piecing and applique, and if students wanted to, they could opt to just make a single 15-inch block and turn it into an 18-inch quilted pillow. And speaking of quilted pillows, here are 9 different workshops, each one featuring one of my 20-inch paper-pieced holiday pillow motifs. I'm also now offering workshops for individuals. These are Zoom classes that are open for anyone. Here are my offerings for October and November of this year. More details are online. And you should know that all my patterns are available in my shop on Etsy.com in 2 formats, either printed on paper and sent through the mail, or as instantly downloadable PDFs. That way they can be delivered right to the student's home in their preferred format. Again, I'm Tina Curran. I hope you'll consider me. Here's my contact info.
Hi, my name's Rachel Derstine, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have some new classes that I offer through my website, which is artfulquiltingandsewing.com. I'd like to tell you a little bit about them. If you go to artfulquiltingandsewing.com, you will see a drop-down menu under Teaching. And there you will see that I have some online on-demand courses and some virtual live Zoom classes. The virtual live classes are scheduled for specific days and specific times of day, and they involve interaction through the Zoom platform for students to interact with me and with each other. And I do solicit a lot of dialogue among the students in my classes. The first class I want to tell you about is called Keep It Simple But Pack a Punch. And in this class, I will teach you how to create designs and how to choose fabrics so that you can create a fairly simple quilt, but keep it really compelling and impactful. This is a design class, and after I show you some ideas and give you some techniques that you can use to create your quilts, I will expect you to come up with your very own design. You may have seen my article in Art Quilting Studio, the summer edition, in which I wrote about the beauty of simplicity. The next class I want to talk about is my advanced landscape class. In this class, we learn how to use some non-traditional techniques for creating landscape quilts. We will be using the Cricut cutter, we will be using fabric paints and thread painting, as well as some digital techniques. And last of all, coming in January, I'm going to be teaching a new class on architecture quilts. We'll work on getting the proper perspective, lots of fusing techniques, and some improvisational piecing. I would love to have you join my Facebook group, Artful Quilting and Sewing. So I hope you will join me in my classes and have some fun making quilts together. And again, you can find me at artfulquiltingandsewing.com.
Hi there, I'm Catherine Redford coming to you from Naperville, Illinois. I'd enjoyed the life of a travelling teacher for over 10 years when everything came to a halt. I soon realised that life was changed forever and got myself sorted for the new world of Zoom. Now I've given approaching 100 virtual lectures and classes, and although I am venturing outside again, I know that Zoom is here to stay. I have everything organised to make the experience as straightforward as possible. All my students get a front row seat from the comfort of their own home in a basic Zoom presentation. Hybrid meetings are just beginning, so we can talk about that one. I have a selection of fun, often interactive lectures for you to choose from. From lessons learned while quilting, an enjoyable romp through my quilting life, to trip around the world in folk art stitches, a quiz show with prizes for contestants, your members will always go away inspired to create for themselves. My lectures last around an hour, and I'm happy for you to include them in your usual guild meeting format. I miss seeing your smiling faces and show and tell, so I usually attend the whole meeting from beginning to end, just like I would in real life. I love to teach. The world of quilting has given me so much, now it's time for me to give back. I have a wide range of classes. With over 50 years of embroidery practice, my folk art stitching classes can be tailored to suit everyone's level of expertise. Wool applique, English paper piecing, beading on fabric, and now button making are all popular classes. Using 2 cameras means students can see all the details in a way that is much more difficult in real life. I can provide kits, shipping them to a central point or to individual homes as needed. My other passion is machine quilting. My walking foot classes leave participants ready to get their quilt tops finished into quilts. My free motion classes are designed for the beginner or hesitant quilter who needs a skill-building confidence lesson. Classes are anywhere from 3 to 6 hours. I can also adapt them to be shorter lecture presentations suitable for inclusion in a regular guild meeting. Just ask, we can sort it out. More details are available on the lectures and classes page on my website at catherineredford.com. Email me at catherine@catherineredford.com. I aim to reply to emails within 24 hours, usually quicker. I like to set up a phone call to discuss your needs. A simple contract saves the date. I've served as a guild contract chair. I know how I wanted things to work. I really do want everyone to be happy. Zoom is here to stay. I do hope we will Zoom together soon.
Hi, I'm Jenny Lyon, and I'm all about free motion quilting on a domestic machine. I'm coming to you from Northern California. I've been teaching virtually for well over a year, and I'm very comfortable with the whole process. And I can tailor the timing to the needs of your guild or your shop. You may actually already know me from some things that I've done. I do have a book with C&T Publishing. I have appeared on the Quilt Show as well as Quilting Arts TV. And I know that many of you think that you can't free motion quilt, and I absolutely know that you can. That's what I'm all about. I've got some lectures that I want to share with you. 3 lectures. Quilting is a contact sport. We have a lot in common with athletes. My journey through the artistic muddle, it was not a direct path. And thirdly, the beauty of the imperfect. Your imperfect work can be beautiful. So I've got 12 workshops. I'm only going to share a few with you. This is my intro class, and it works fabulously well online. I think it's because you're at home with your best machine. I do get you up and running with confidence. I got several fills classes and also a feathers 4 ways class. I do have 3 project classes. The first is cut work, where we make this beautiful scarf or a table topper with simple free motion quilting. I also have a trapunto class, which gives fabulous dimension to any genre of quilt. And start with a square. We start with a square of a large scale print, add some fills, and create an almost whole cloth quilt. And I have 2 new offerings I'm excited to share. The Julienne pillow is a combination of some super simple free motion quilting, some collage work, and some fun embellishment, some of it by machine. And blooming shears, we're going to play with hunks of color and add some free motion quilting. It's like you're in kindergarten again. So I am thrilled with the results of my online teaching, and my students are as well. I do keep my classes very encouraging and lighthearted, and I have excellent close-up videos to show you my quilting. So I hope you'll give me a holler. I am Jenny Lyon at quiltskipper.com. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Scarlett Rose of scarlettrose.com, and I offer a wide variety of Zoom lectures. And of course, if you want to add a workshop, I have quite a few of those to choose from. Please download my brochure at scarlettrose.com to see the full list, because I've got quite a bit to offer you. My lectures are more on genealogy or family history for these first 2. I have been very fortunate that I have a 3rd great grandmother who was a quilter, but I have also a lecture that just focuses on my grandmother who quilted in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Quirky quilt making. This lecture is about all the upcycling, recycling, and repurposing that's going on right now. The people who are using household linens, draperies, used clothing, any type of fiber, fabric, you name it, to make some of the most stunning quilts you could possibly imagine. My Celtic style designs have evolved over the years since I've been at it for quite a long time, and you'll get to see a wide selection of those as I've grown and changed and experimented with new techniques. Modern Celtic quilting, people are taking bias tape or just the cut strips, appliquing them, piecing them, creating kind of a very modern look to what I still consider to be Celtic knotwork. Celtic quilts around the world, people all over are into the intricate design details. And this is something that as a historian, I've documented all of these years. So I'd love to share a selection with you of some of the amazing quilts that I've found. A quilt artist's life, that's me. I make garments, I do foundation paper piecing, I make scrap quilts. I'm a spoonflower designer. That's one of my panel prints you see there with the trees. I'm a quilt judge as well as a quilt competitor. If you've never competed before, or if you've always been curious about what competition involves, I can kind of lift the curtain on some of the mystery of that and explain some of the ins and outs of judging if you decide you'd like to get into that. Friendship quilts. I've belonged to groups for many years and have some stunning looking quilts that you'll love to give you some ideas about what you can do with friendship circles. Round robins. You can do the traditional medallion style, the row robins, random robins, and renegade robins. Here's all of my contact information, srosequilter@gmail.com, Scarlett Rose Designer on Instagram. I have an Etsy shop with all of my patterns available, my main website, and my Facebook page. Thank you for watching my video today. I'm Scarlett at scarlettrose.com.
I'm Trudy Cleveland from Southern California. I'm a professional long armor and a professional photographer. I've merged my two interests into programs that I can bring to your guild. First program I have, Shoot Your Quilt. Yes, this program is how to take professional looking photographs using only your smartphone. We go over how to take photographs and also why you should take the photographs and also what you should do with them after you take them. This is a program that your members will be amazed at, and they will learn how to take photographs for your virtual show and tell. My second program is how to upgrade your quilt toolbox. This is a program that we go over all of the modern technology that we have at our fingertips and how we can use that in our quilt process. I go over how to use printers, smartphones, and also applications that are on our smartphones. With this information, you can enhance your quilt process. I have 2 workshops that I offer. The first workshop that I offer is called Shoot Your Quilt. And this is a hands-on, interactive way to use your smartphone to take pictures of your quilts and get professional looking results. This is a workshop in which we take photographs of the quilt that the member has chosen, and at the end of the workshop, they have a portfolio of 5 images of the quilt that are ready to use in social media or any of your virtual show and tells. I have one other workshop, and it's called Color My World. This is a workshop in which we use applications that are on our smartphone to choose colors to go into a quilt. We apply it to the color theory, and we have our applications of our iPhone help us pick the exact correct color we need. At the end of this workshop, I have people saying, I didn't know my phone could do that. All of my workshops can be taken virtual or in person. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope to be able to work with your guild in the future.
Hello, I'm Dana Jones, former editor of Quilter's Newsletter and former editor of Studio Art Quilt Associates Journal. My thanks to Sue, Mel, and Lyric for the opportunity to be part of the Global Quilt Connection. Since presenting here in February, my Demystifying Design for Foundation Piecing workshop has taken off. From block designs to pictorial images, I'm amazed at the great quilts my talented students are creating. I'd love to schedule this workshop with your guild or have you sign up for an open enrollment class. My Piece Cranes over Hiroshima is a top workshop pick for guilds and individuals. Each student puts her, his, or their spin on the quilt with the fabrics they choose. If you need to learn how to foundation piece or brush up your skills, my Foundation Piecing 101 workshop is for you. It will prepare you to take the Piece Crane class and Demystifying Design for Foundation Piecing. You can discover how fast and easy it can be to inset circles in 3 of my workshops. The simplest and quickest is my Circling Charlie table runner. Circle of Friends teaches circles inside of circles. Beyond insetting circles, Will It Go Round in Circles teaches precise piecing of narrow strips and borders. I offer a number of lectures. I just added a trunk show called Around the Block. It's a fun romp from traditional blocks to new original blocks to improv blocks. There's lots of eye candy inspiration here. 2 of my lectures are perennial favorites. Pegtina Bangai, The Quilts and Quilt Makers of Kawahagan Island, is the story of how quilt making has enhanced life on a tiny 13-acre island in the central Philippines. I created indigo taupe and more Japanese fabric from vintage to contemporary after a whirlwind round of interviews with multiple generations of Japanese quilt makers. I also have lectures on the International Honor Quilt, which was made in conjunction with Judy Chicago's iconic feminist art piece, The Dinner Party, and on the words and images of quilt art pioneer Jean Ray Laurie. I offer open enrollment classes on my recently installed high-speed fiber network. See my website for details and to register. I'd love to speak and teach for your guild, and I'd love for you to enroll individually in workshops that appeal to you. Thanks again to Lyric, Mel, and Sue for this opportunity to be part of the Global Quilt Connection.
Are you tired of trying to wrestle your quilt under your domestic sewing machine? Or spending hundreds of dollars to send your quilt top to a long armor for quilting? Hi, I'm Kristin Echols, and I teach and design patterns and classes using the quilt-as-you-go technique. Using my patterns, students learn to piece and quilt blocks individually and then join the blocks together using a special sashing technique. I want you to be happy with your finished quilt, so I designed my patterns with a little wiggle room to help you achieve your goals. I also show you how to fix common piecing issues. For guilds, I offer a 60 to 75-minute trunk show of my quilts titled A Lesson in Every Quilt. The presentation includes professional photos of over 40 of my quilts, and I share the lessons I learned making each one. Over half the quilts are made using the quilt-as-you-go method, but I also share some of my other favorite quilts and techniques. I'll also show you the ugliest quilt I've ever made, because you know you want to see that. I'm available to lecture and teach virtually or in person, and I'm happy to host virtual events using my Zoom account or your guild's. I offer 3 different 6-hour Quilt-as-you-go workshops based on my patterns: Crazy Quilt-as-you-go, Hugs or Kisses, and Disappearing 4-Patch. Each student receives a downloadable color pattern with step-by-step instructions. I recommend breaking the class into 2 3-hour sessions, 1 to 2 weeks apart. In the first session, students learn to piece, sandwich, and quilt individual blocks. In the second session, I teach the quilt-as-you-go sashing technique to join the quilted blocks. During the classes, I show short video demonstrations of each step. After watching a demo, students head to their machines in the comfort of their own sewing space to work on their projects. During that time, I'm open to repeat the demo and answer questions. I use 3 cameras to show my sewing machine, my cutting table, and myself. Each workshop includes access to a private Facebook group, which allows students to ask questions and share their work in progress. It also gives them access to all the videos shared in class for 30 days. If your guild prefers a 1-day workshop, I can adjust the 6-hour classes for a single day. Or I offer a 4-hour workshop that teaches all the quilt-as-you-go techniques on a small 4-block quilt. Lastly, I would like to offer your guild my free Block of the Month program. You will receive 12 block patterns for progressively more complex 12-inch blocks that can be made into a lap-size quilt. Even if you don't hire me, you're welcome to use my Block of the Month pattern set. Please visit my website, kristinlaura.com, to learn more and see my current rates. Thank you to Global Quilt Connection for giving me the opportunity to spend 3 minutes with you. I look forward to spending more time with your guild. Remember, quilting is your hobby. It should not stress you out.
My name is Nanette S. Zeller. I'm a mixed media textile artist from North Carolina. I use a variety of techniques to create my nature-inspired art. Thread painting is my favorite, but that's not all I do. As a mixed media artist, I explore a variety of processes, including surface design, applique, felting, paints, colored pencils, drawing skills, and a variety of other things. I use these tools whenever my art needs them. As a self-described recovering perfectionist, I've learned that being too strict on rules can limit my creative process. My philosophy is there are no rules, just techniques that can be adapted as needed for specific projects. I've been teaching all of my adult life and working in the quilting industry for the past 15 years. I spent 10 years working as a freelance quilt book technical editor. I've written articles for publication and made guest appearances on a popular TV show. As a working artist, I exhibit my work, I've had solo shows, and I sell my art in galleries. So I understand artistic desires and the fear that often comes along with pursuing this dream. When I create workshops, my goal is to provide my students with a solid understanding of the basic processes. Then I offer them options so they could take the skills and run with it in their own creative way. I offer my workshops as live virtual presentations for small groups or guilds. I'm also developing an online collection of on-demand courses available with open enrollment and 24/7 access. My lectures are live virtual presentations suitable for guilds, libraries, or other small groups. You can find out more about me on my website, NanetteSews.com, my YouTube channel, Nanette Sews, or on Facebook. When you visit my website, consider signing up for my monthly newsletter, weekly blog, or both. I'll send you updates and encouragement straight to your inbox. Join me as we spread our wings, try new directions, and gain confidence to soar into new possibilities.
I'm Lynn Koolish. I'm a fiber artist, teacher, and author. I've been teaching quilt making and fiber arts classes for over 20 years, and I love sharing what I know through my workshops and lectures. I teach process and technique classes, and my teaching philosophy is to encourage students to use the class information in their own ways and to explore their own ideas, so everyone in class ends up with a unique result no matter what they are learning. I teach both live and online classes for groups and guilds, and I also have online classes for individuals through Creative Spark Online Learning. In all of my classes, I allow ample time for students to work on their own and put the class techniques into practice. For virtual classes, I stay online during class, so I'm available to answer questions as they come up, just like I would in a live classroom. For the online classes, I have videotaped all of the hands-on demonstrations so that everyone gets an up-close look at the processes being shown, and students have the ability to go back and watch the videos again if they like. I teach more classes than fit into a 3-minute presentation, so I'm going to show some highlights and encourage you to find out about all of my classes and lectures from my website, LynnKoolish.com. I love teaching fabric dyeing and have been very successful in teaching dyeing classes both in person and online. My fabric dyeing classes are designed for all levels of experience. Beginners learn the basics, and experienced dyers always learn something new. Classes include all about fabric dyeing and color mixing, shibori dyeing, and using resists. With all of these classes, students work with fiber reactive dyes and end up with a stack of unique hand-dyed fabrics that they can use in their quilt making, garment making, and other fiber work. The next group of classes are about working improvisationally using freeform cutting and piecing. In all of these classes, there's a strong focus on using basic design principles to make sure that finished quilts look cohesive. There are several different quilt styles you can choose from, and all of them result in quilts as unique as each maker. I also offer classes I call Paint and Stitch, where students paint fabric in the morning and in the afternoon use it to start a quilt top. These classes cover basic painting techniques as well as focusing on color and design. I share several example quilts, but students can use the painted fabrics as they choose. I also offer lectures that can be presented live or on Zoom. I create new classes on an ongoing basis, and I'm happy to talk with you about customizing classes for your specific needs. All of the information you need is on my website, lynnkoolish.com.
Brow-Meier, the designer for Java House Quilts Patterns. Before entering the world of quilting, I worked creating visuals and presentations for professors in the College of Agriculture at Michigan State University. After moving to California, I worked as a graphic designer and as a professional cartoon illustrator. And in the last years, in addition to the patterns, I've been hired by guilds and conferences as a speaker and to do workshops and programs. I think I'm best known for my animal-themed projects and designs, and I'd like to show you images of my work and my offerings to guilds. Some of my animals are really large, and some are smaller and more detailed. Some feature applique, actually most of them do, but a lot of them are actually pieced. Many projects have applique elements and pieced ones combined. Some patterns are for fusing, some are traditionally appliqued. Some of my quilts are rather involved, like this block of the month, and others are fairly simple in design. I design wall hangings and children's quilts, and some are not quilts at all. Some are bags or cases with zippers. These are actually popular patterns for me. And some are a bit out of the box. This is actually an older pattern, but it was my best seller for 2020. Some are more elegant and some are humorous, but always I try to make them lively and have them convey a sense of movement and personality. I offer 4 lectures via Zoom and in person: the Smuggle Principles, the Magic of Movement in Quilts, the Science of Exceptional Quilts, and Capturing Animal Personalities in Quilts. And my 3 workshops right now are the Newly Hatched Wall Hanging Workshop, the Shell Shelters Turtle Case Workshop. This is one of the zipper cases. And the Infrognito Child's Quilt Workshop, in which I teach a new middle-to-middle piecing method. It makes working with triangles and doing all the cutting a little bit faster and easier, and is kind of nice for someone who's just getting started. And all of my workshops are available in person and via Zoom. My website again is javahousequilts.com. I have a lot more information there, and I hope to visit your guild in the future. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Cindy Grisdela, artist, teacher, and author of Artful Improv and a new book called Adventures in Improv Quilts, which has just been released. I'm pleased to offer live online lectures and workshops to guilds and groups, plus on-demand classes to individual students. I focus primarily on improv piecing and design and using color fearlessly in your quilts. I have 4 virtual lectures available. My 2 most popular are Playing with Colors, where I offer tips and tricks for using color effectively and fearlessly in your quilts, and Anatomy of Improv, where I go over different ways to create improvisationally without a pattern and give you ideas to decide when your quilt is finished. My other lectures are Free Motion Quilting with Style and Journey of an Art Quilter. Lectures are 45 to 60 minutes long, plus time for questions and answers afterwards. I do enjoy engaging with my audience to answer any questions that they have after the lecture is over. Live online classes are fun events where I use slides and short pre-recorded videos to demonstrate the techniques, plus handouts emailed ahead of time as a resource. The students get plenty of time to sew with me available for questions and constructive feedback. Several of these classes are Improv Puzzle, Improv Log Cabin, and Fearless Curves. I now have 2 new classes that are coming out this fall called Improv from the Scrap Bag and Fabulous Freehand Curves. Classes can be 4 hours or 6 hours. 6-hour classes can be broken up into 2 3-hour sessions if needed. I also have 3 on-demand classes that individual students can take either on their own or with a group of friends. These classes include videos, text, and photos for the techniques included, and I am available for questions via email. Thank you very much for listening. I would love for you to visit my website at cindygrisdela.com to check out my workshops and lectures, my online learning options, and get signed copies of both of my books on the website. Again, I'm Cindy Grisdela, and my website is cindygrisdela.com. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Irene Blanck from Melbourne, Australia. I grew up in Africa, but I also lived for a little while in India. Living on those 2 continents exposed me to the vibrant color that was used in everyday clothing, and I'm sure influenced me in my use of color in all my quilts. I consider myself a traditional quilter who designs quirky quilts using bright colors. I've been a quilter for 30 years, and for the last 10 years I've been designing and teaching. Last year, during all the lockdowns that we had in Melbourne, I taught myself how to use Zoom, and I now do virtual lectures and run Zoom workshops as well to quilters all around the world. I love applique quilts and enjoy needle turn applique. In 2015, Quiltmania published a book of my quilts called Focus on Applique. Basically, I teach techniques. Currently, I offer 4 classes. So the first one is Matilda, which is a needle turn applique class. This is a terrific class for newbies to applique. This is because in this class you learn all the methods that I teach using needle turn applique, including straight line applique, curves, points, circles, as well as making easy peasy stems very quickly. I stress the importance of relaxing and enjoying this class, and I make it a fun and entertaining class. The clamshell quilt is by far the most popular class. This is because we have no background fabrics to sew the clamshells onto, no lines, no grids, no papers, and I like to say no stress. All you need is a template and basic sewing. Students end up making a queen-size quilt after telling me they were only going to make a table runner. This is because the way I teach it is so addictive. As well, I teach the students how to break the quilts up into blocks so that they are portable and can be taken around with them wherever they go. Kaleidoscope is another quilt that I teach. This uses freezer paper foundation piecing, which means that there are no little bits of paper to be ripped off when you finish your block. Students learn this method very quickly, and they're also offered 2 versions of this quilt. Flowering Snowball is another class that I teach. This is a machine-pieced class where I teach the students how to put the pieces together and take the stress out of sewing these gentle curves. All my classes are supportive of the students and are interactive with techniques clearly shown. I try and make the classes enjoyable, talkative, relaxing, and fun, almost like a physical class. You can contact me on my website, which is focusonquilts.com.au, or you can send me an email at blankirene@gmail.com. Thank you.
Oh, hi! Welcome to my studio. I'm Lilo Bowman. I'm an author, an artist, and currently the editor-in-chief of thequiltshow.com. But one of my greatest joys is helping others organize and build a creative space that they absolutely love. You might have seen one of my appearances as a guest on thequiltshow.com, monthly organizing tips on Facebook Live with Alex Anderson, heard my podcast interviews, or read one of my articles. I'm really pleased to offer 5 different online lectures, and because I can't come to your place, online small group workshops. My lectures offer real studio situations and insights on how to gain control of all the stuff that's taking over your space. So whether your studio is the size of a broom closet, you experience frequent moves, find that you want to make room for that long arm, and what about a second studio? Or the need to adapt your space due to physical changes, I've got a lecture that covers that subject. I can even customize a lecture for your guild or group. By far, my most popular lecture, Love Your Creative Space, focuses on learning how to set up a creative space that works for you, your space, your budget, and where you are right now. Adapting for change means learning how changes in your life don't have to stop your creativity. You learn easy and clever workarounds to keep the playing going for years to come. Quilting machines. Is that quilting machine and all its gear taking over your playground space? Learn how to build a system that corrals the one who wants to take over and ensures enough space for everyone at the playground to get along. Dual studios. Congratulations, you're setting up a second studio in another location. Whether it's another home, a cabin in the woods, or something in between, learn to build a place that you will love equally as much as your primary studio. And my newest lecture, Small Spaces. Don't let the small size of your space keep you from having hours of fun. It's about learning to prioritize. Let me show you some creative ways to utilize every square inch of your playground. Starting in 2022, I will be offering Jumpstart Your Organizing, an online 2-day group workshop designed to help a small number of individuals get a running start to organizing in their own personal space. For individuals seeking a more personalized approach to organizing, I also offer private consulting sessions. Please visit my website, lilobowman.com, where you can learn more about my lectures and workshops. To schedule a lecture or sign up for a workshop, use the contact form. Thank you very much to Lyric and Sue for hosting this event. See you soon.
Hello folks, quilting instructor Peter Byrne here. I love sharing my work within the quilting community, and today I'll be showcasing 3 of my award-winning quilts and introducing 2 technique-based virtual workshops. I'm very proud to say all 3 of these quilts have been published in the Curated Quilts Journal. I have been traveling through time and space on Zoom and meeting with fellow quilters from all across Canada, the US, and beyond. While attending QuiltCon 2020, something absolutely magical happened. I won 2 of the top awards, including Best in Show for my quilt title Starring You, and Best Machine Quilting Frameless for my quilt titled Cityscape. The Cityscape Improv Inspiration Workshop has been designed around the innovative quilting techniques used while making this award-winning quilt. If you enjoy learning about contemporary quilting, I invite you to register for my Cityscape Improv Inspiration Workshop. Here's a picture of the contemporary Cityscape mini quilt students make while attending this virtual workshop. Custom-made kits are available in 2 colorways, blue teal and tan gray. Let's have a look at my second workshop. Introducing Hover Quilting, a fresh look at raw edge applique. This innovative technique produces not only a beautiful, controlled frayed edge, but also creates the illusion of your applique hovering above the quilt top. If you're curious about fuzzy-edged applique, I invite you to register for my playful Hover Quilting Inspiration Workshop. Here's a picture of the Hover Quilt Mini students make while attending this virtual workshop. Custom-made kits are available with your choice of a black background or a white background. On Zoom, I host and teach my workshops with a class size of only 10 students. My Zoom workshops are an engaging 2 half-day event, with each day starting at 9:30 a.m. and finishing at 2 p.m. Registration is now open. You can find the schedule for my upcoming workshops on my Instagram feed at Peter's Quilts. I'm also available to teach these virtual workshops for your guild. Further details are available on my website at peterbquilts.com. I also invite you to email me directly at petersquilts@gmail.com. If you'd like to know more about me, Google Peter's Quilts. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, I am Anna Buzzalino, an artist, teacher, author, and lecturer, joining you today from Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. I have 4 lectures available at this time to present virtually. Come along and I'll tell you more about them. The Fiber Artist in Me is a newly revamped trunk show where I cover 35 years of trajectory as a fiber artist, from my beginnings as a traditional quilter to where I am today. I share techniques and step-by-steps in the hopes of encouraging viewers to explore and experiment. In What is Creativity, I share the history of creativity plus my views, together with some experts, on how to nurture creativity every day. Creativity in times of COVID follows my journey through 2020 and beyond. I share ideas on how to stay connected with your own creativity and find the motivation to move forward in times of stress. Workshops are available online for more information. My goal is to make the virtual experience memorable, just as if I was there in person. Workshops are suitable for all skill levels and can be customized to suit your group's needs. I offer optional kits for some workshops to save the students having to source materials that may not be readily available. Pricing and my contract can be found on my website. Rubbing some paint sticks on fabric is a very popular workshop. Students spend some time creating rubbing plates, which are then used with paint sticks on fabric to create unique pieces that can be used as standalone or cut up and combined with different fabrics to create unique pieces of art. Monoprints combine the spontaneity of printed paints and fabric, creating surfaces that are like no other. Students use a jelly plate and water-based paints and different techniques such as masking, stencils, and personal stamps and textures to create unique and original pieces. If you like to use imagery in your work, these workshops are for you. Editing photos in PowerPoint is a demo workshop where I share my screen and show you how to remove backgrounds, change and adjust color, and use layering to produce great images, which you can then transfer to fabric using TAP. Introduction to Transfer Artist paper will show you how to use this versatile transfer paper to add images and layers to your work. I am Anna Buzzalino. Thank you for listening. Please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and subscribe to my website at www.annabuzzalino.com. Stay safe and have a good day.
Hi, my name is Jane Haworth. I'm coming to you from Auburn, Northern California, and I want to talk to you today about what I offer on Zoom. So I have lectures and workshops, and I would be in Pacific time. For my workshops, I have 2 cameras, so you get to see me working on my work in progress, and I also have the camera on my laptop. My workshops can be 3, 4, or 2 3-hour classes, 6 hours, whatever works. But quite often a 3 or 4 hour class is good. So I'm excited to share I have a new lecture, and it's called Memory Quilts, History, Stories and How To. So I've had a business making memory quilts for 10 plus years. So behind me here you can see my necktie quilt, and the workshop that goes along with this is beautiful quilts made from neckties. So I talk about how I break those down and various blocks that can be made. My other workshop related to this again is tips and tricks using t-shirts. So I've made hundreds of t-shirt quilts, and maybe that's something your guild is interested in, but I know some people don't like t-shirt quilts. So my other lectures are Living a Creative Life, where I talk about my journey from England, sewing I did back there, and how I got into quilting. And then Living a Creative Life, this is a more inspirational lecture, and I'll share various techniques, easy techniques, that I hope will inspire you. So my other workshops are fabric collage. So you can see these couple of dogs back there. And so for these workshops, I would email you PDF patterns and the instructions. So the pattern you would print out and tape together, ready for class. And I have various themes. So this is a cat pattern that I have. And then I have these sunflowers. This is my most popular pattern. And I also have other themes like succulents, lizards, frogs, various flowers, things like that. So just check out my website, janehaworth.com, and you'll see more of those. And finally, what I do also have is an on-demand class. So this is called Love of Pets Fabric Collage. And you'll be working on your own enlargement of your pet. So guilds or groups can sign up for this as a group, and I'll give you a discount. And then I'll have various Zoom meetings with you, answer questions, check on your progress along the way. So I hope this interests you, and check out my website, janehaworth.com. Thank you.
A teacher and scrap designer, and I would love the opportunity to tell you how I can bring my philosophy of inspired designs, relaxed attitude to you or your group virtually. I'm probably best known for my accordion sewn half square triangles technique. I created this technique because I'm so scrappy that I don't even want 2 half square triangles to be exactly the same in my scrappy quilts. Most of my more popular classes virtually do involve this method, but not all of them. If it's scrappy, I'm in. One great thing about going virtual for workshops is people get so much more done, and part of that is sometimes because if you can take a class and split it into more than one session, there's some homework time in there. This class is my Carpenter's Apprentice 6-hour class, which I've split into 2 sessions of 3 hours each a couple times. This is midway through the second class, and you can see that a lot of people are approaching done. That just doesn't happen in person. I've also figured out ways to use Zoom for some mystery quilts. What I do is it's a full day workshop, and I host different clues in different breakout rooms, and people move through as they're ready. That was the last one we did. Currently, I'm hosting a quilt along where we get together every week to talk about our progress and share any questions and pictures that we may have. And sometimes I like to use Zoom just to have people join me to sew, just because it's much more fun to sew with friends. My programs have all been very easily moved to PowerPoint presentations to be given virtually. And quite honestly, sometimes they're even better that way. All of my family had to go to virtual teaching along with me, and they love getting little love notes like this when I'm about to go downstairs. But it does really help to keep the interruptions to a minimum. I try to be professional. I can't promise, but I do the best I can. I do live in Pepperell, Massachusetts, which is Eastern Time. If you're interested in finding out more, the best place is to get on my newsletter. You can do that by either going to my website, evapagequilts.com, and when the pop-up menu pops up, go right ahead and fill it out, or you can send me an email and say, hey, can you put me on your newsletter? Also, check out my Facebook page. Any of those ways, you're going to find out when I'm doing events, and you'll be able to pass on my information to your programs people. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lyric Montgomery Kennard, and my partners are Sue Bleiweiss and Mel Beach. We are so glad to have you with us. Let me tell you about another project I have going on. If you're interested in becoming a virtual teacher, go to academyforvirtualteaching.com, where you can join a vibrant community of teachers who are striving to become more proficient and professional online teachers. If you go to globalquiltconnection.com, you can find downloadable spreadsheets as well as links to all of our virtual quilt teachers' websites. We hope you and your guild are able to find exactly the program and the courses that you're looking for.